Greetings and salutations. I'm here with my review of Last of Us Season 2, Episode 3. Full spoilers follow, and also a reminder, played the first game, watched the first season, did not play the second game. So a lot will be new to me, but not everything, because, the internet and people saying things. So this was obviously the episode that was going to deal with the aftermath of this massive shift with the death of Joel, and man, did they have to hit us so hard in the opening credits. Now it's just Ellie by herself, that silhouette there. Oh, man. Couldn't we have just maybe he faded out? Actually, that'd be worse, probably. So, we got this prologue that was in the immediate aftermath and really kind of had to remind you that, this town just went through hell and they are burning the bodies of all the infected. And Tommy is dealing with, finding out that his brother is dead. But man, Ellie, I don't think I did enough respect last week for the acting because I was just talking about the story points of it and how that affected me. But Caitlin Deaver's not in this episode, but she was fantastic, sort of showing that rage that had built up in this character that was just unleashing in this moment. But Bella Ramsey had to play so much the anguish, the horror of watching this man she loves be killed in front of her, watching, the man who's become her father get killed so viciously. And it was really powerful last week, but then here when we picked up and she wakes up and she's still stuck in that moment and lets out that kind of primal scream like she's watching it right then still. That is heartbreaking and wonderfully acted. And in this episode, I think, the whole episode, she has to play a lot of different levels as far as, because we pick up 3 months later after that, how Ellie is putting on this front for everyone, and really, of course, the pain underneath it, the thirst for revenge, and I thought that was just really well played, both acting wise but also writing wise. And I like that everyone kind of sees through her. It's like she can't be that great at guarding herself, especially because everyone knows her real personality. So Gail comes to talk to her. First of all, more Catherine O'Hara is always a good thing. Wonderful scene between the two of them. And the fact that, she's telling Gail all the right things about how she's processed her grief. And Gail isn't buying it, of course. Gail is nodding and smiling and saying, oh, that's great. But, she knows that this is not the truth. But yeah, we get a little more insight into Gail here, that scene with her and Tommy where they talk about how horrible it is for her as the one person in town everyone's going to go to with their problems, but she has no one to go to with hers. And a town like this in a scenario like this, I really just kind of like the realism of how they're playing it. Again, we've seen a lot of zombie stories that kind of show trying to rebuild civilization and how that goes, and these lulls between the violence. But I think this one just does a very especially strong job of it. And even watching they're sitting watching a little league game while they're chatting here, and it all feels believable and like these are real people dealing with this terrible situation. But going back to Ellie, she makes that speech before the town council, and she heeds Jesse's advice and she rehearses it and has it all written out. But again, it's not sincere, and she's saying the right words about why this is important for the town, but she doesn't really mean that. She wants revenge, not justice. And I think that what is really well done here too is you see the perspective of everyone else saying, we hear you, we love Joel, but we have so much going on and we are all grieving. Granted, we don't know all these people that well. So, all the people that died are going to be ethereal to us, but it should be, right? We're invested in Ellie and Joel. We want revenge for Joel. But I do think it's important that the show portray why the town wouldn't all stand up to do that and understand that perspective. I believe them. I believe and understand why they wouldn't all say, yeah, let's all go to Seattle and get them. Even as, of course, I want Ellie to go get these guys, and that's got to be the story. I just thought that was very well balanced. And hey, homophobic RoboCop, he stands up for Ellie. He gets his redemption arc. He apologized last week. We could debate how sincere that was, but a nice moment here. A couple nice moments here for Seth, played by Robert John Burke. Both, kind of angrily standing up and speaking for her at the council, but then also when he goes and helps her and Dina sort of go on their trek in the middle of the night and gives her that gun. I like that they're bringing in these peripheral characters in the town, and we're kind of getting to fill them in more. I'm curious how much will go back and forth between the town and Ellie and Dina at this point. I don't think we're just going to abandon the town. There's some important characters back there, characters they've elevated this season for sure, like Tommy or Jesse, who we've just met. I was really surprised that they reached Seattle in this episode. I just expected that to be its own episode at least. Maybe two, but more likely one, like the Trek to Seattle episode. I hadn't played the game, but I kind of figured they had to go to Seattle. And I was surprised it was just kind of like even in the middle of the episode. It's it's not even like the brunt of the episode. They kind of do it in montage. Although, man, some beautiful shots of Canada as they're going along there. There's some pristine looking areas there. Oh, by the way, when Dina mentioned Snoqualmie, I don't know about you, but I'm a huge Twin Peaks fan, and Snoqualmie Falls is where the actual hotel is from Twin Peaks. I've gone and seen it myself as a huge Twin Peaks fan. So I was like, oh, I wonder if the media that's been passed on to these young girls in the apocalypse, is Twin Peaks among it? Would they want to go and check out the actual lodge? But probably not. I think they've got a different mission in mind. Interesting to meet that new group on the road that seemed kind of cult-like, because all the men had shaved heads and they all had given themselves this facial scarring. I thought they were going to be kind of an important part of the season maybe, but it's a diversion because they're all killed off screen. They were all dressed kind of like they were trying to take down the shield generator on Endor. So I don't know, maybe this was a cult that began as just like a huge Star Wars fan club, and this is what they evolved into after the mushroom people rose up. Yeah, I really liked this episode. It was, kind of the calm after the storm episode, because we had this monumental event happen last week. And this is the aftermath, but also this 3-month time jump. But, the fact that it just immediately does go into, okay, this is what's going to happen. This is the quest for revenge that it has to be. It has to be for Ellie. But yeah, just how Dina handled it even. I didn't tell you all this information while you were recuperating, because you would have gotten up and you would not have been ready and gone out on the road and died on the road, or died once you got to Seattle because of the shape you were in. That all tracked, I think. And then we got the introduction of more of what the wolves are and how they started. I don't think they're the ones that killed the Endor people. That seems like, misdirect for both us, but also for Ellie and Dina. Or if it was them, I don't think it was Ruby's group. I mean, we saw those guys. They were already kind of like, hey, Ruby, you're going too far with what you're doing to Joel. I don't think they're just going to massacre this group of people, children included. So it seems like it's got to be something else. Either divisions within the wolves, or there's another factor out there altogether. And I'm definitely intrigued by that. Yeah, I really like all these elements and how they're building up, even as losing Joel is such a, massive loss to both the show and to these characters into this world. We got that really sort of poignant, sweet, sad moment at his grave with Ellie on the road. And yeah, the whole episode, I mentioned the, great shots of Canada, but beautifully shot. This is such a great looking show. And it really gets to sort of intermix the beauty and the horrific imagery all at once. You've got a grave pit of mushroom people burning here, and then you've got just like pristine outdoor, untouched by man areas as well. And it all really I think comes together in a really strong way. So I'm still intrigued. I wonder, there was, when Joel died, you get will people just stop watching? Will that be the line for them? And I hope it's not, because this is still a world and other characters I'm heavily invested in. Joel looms extremely large here, but I still also want to see what happens here with Ellie and Dina as they go on this quest into Seattle. Also, I like that in the middle of this, we got that sort of cute, flirty scene between Dina and Ellie in the tent. Cute is a funny word to use for The Last of Us, but I think a big point of this show is to kind of show the humanity of these characters and how they are trying to kind of persevere and live in the midst of this horrific apocalyptic world they're in. And part of that would be the flirting nature of two teenage girls kind of talking about that night they shared a kiss together. Actually, I don't know if Dina's a teenager, but she's probably not much older if Ellie's 19. But yeah, very sweet scene. Well played. I think Isabella Merced continues to be a really great addition to this show and the sort of vibe and energy she brings to this character. All right, guys, those are my thoughts on episode 3 of season 2 Last of Us. What'd you think? If you can like and if you can subscribe, that'd be great. All right, take care. Oh, and kudos to The Last of Us for definitely faking me out when Dina said it's quiet and Ellie said too quiet, because I did think instantly, oh man, what a cliche line. The Last of Us, such great writing, but they really had an off moment here. And then a second later, it turns out she is quoting one of her favorite action series. And so well done, Ellie, and well done, Last of Us.